Welcome to this explainer. Today we're stepping right into the quiet of the nursery to explore one of the absolute most magical, universal moments you can ever experience as a parent. We are uncovering the secret science of infant sleep smiles. Over the next few minutes, we're going to bridge the gap between that amazing, heartwarming feeling and the really profound child psychology and neuroscience taking place right before your very eyes. Have you ever just looked down at your sleeping baby and suddenly noticed the tiniest, sweetest little smile spread across their face? For a split second, it completely stops you in your tracks. It feels almost magical. And naturally, our minds want to explain this in a beautiful way. Some folks will tell you that babies smile in their sleep because they're dreaming of angels. Others deeply believe they're remembering something wonderful from another world. And we want to believe these myths, right? Because our emotional connection to our kids is just so incredibly profound. We are literally wired to look for joy in them. But what is really happening beneath those fragile, closed eyelids? Picture this setting, okay? It's 2 a.m. The house is completely quiet. The heavy, totally familiar exhaustion of the newborn phase is sitting squarely on your shoulders. You tiptoe into the nursery just to peek into the crib and check on your little one. They're fast asleep, breathing softly, all swaddled up. And then, out of nowhere, that tiny grin appears. Instantly, your exhaustion just melts away. You can't help but smile back in the dark. It is such an intensely intimate, grounding moment. And grounding this science in that heavy, relatable reality is important because it makes what is actually happening so much more spectacular. We naturally wonder if they're having a happy dream. It's a lovely, optimistic thought. But scientists and child psychologists aren't entirely sure that newborns dream in the same narrative way that older kids or adults do. Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1, the midnight mystery. The answer to why babies smile in their sleep is actually far more fascinating than the myths. During those first few months of life, a baby's brain is growing at an absolutely astonishing pace. In fact, a baby's brain literally doubles in size within their first year. We are talking about millions of neural connections forming incredibly rapidly through a process called neuroplasticity. Every single thing they encounter while awake, the sudden sound of a dog barking, the rough texture of a carpet, the warm feeling of a soft blanket, even just the pitch of your voice, creates a literal spark in their brain. It is a massive, overwhelming amount of data for a tiny human to take in. Moving right along to part 2, the active sleeping brain. So the crucial point here is understanding what happens when they close their eyes. When a baby goes to sleep, the brain doesn't just, power down. It stays highly active in a specific stage of rest called REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. Just to put that into perspective, us adults, we spend maybe 20% of our total sleep time in REM, but newborns, they spend up to 50% of their sleep in this active state. During REM sleep, the brain is highly engaged, sending rapid signals all throughout the body. You might notice your baby twitching, moving their little fingers, fluttering their eyelids, or making tiny facial expressions. That little smile is often just one of those natural facial movements, a direct result of the brain and muscles actively communicating with each other. Which brings us to part 3, the nighttime librarian. And this brilliantly illustrates the deeper psychological purpose behind all this activity. Think of it literally like a nighttime librarian putting books back on the shelves after a very chaotic, busy day. What actually happens when those books are shelved? Well, this is where memory consolidation occurs. The brain is quietly sorting, processing, and strengthening all of that important daily information. From an emotional intelligence standpoint, this is huge. Processing a parent's warm smile or gentle touch during the day helps the baby build a crucial foundation of secure attachment at night. So sleep plays an absolutely essential role in early learning, memory development, and emotional security. Part 4, reflex versus social smiles. Now, what's really interesting about this is how knowing the difference in how smiles develop offers a highly practical insight for parents. It helps manage expectations and significantly reduces anxiety about developmental timelines. In the earliest weeks, so from 0 to 2 months, many smiles happen completely automatically. They aren't necessarily a response to an emotion or social interaction, they're simply reflex smiles. But as babies approach 2 or 3 months of age, they transition to intentional social smiles. They smile because they specifically recognize your face. They feel safe hearing your voice, or they're directly responding to your playful interactions. That's the moment parents often feel they're truly, consciously connecting with their child. So a newborn sleep smile simply reflects healthy neurological development, setting the stage for those big social grins later on. Part 5. The Power of Rest. This active brain building brings us to a crucial concept in child psychology, one that's beautifully echoed in thoughtful parenting traditions around the world, particularly within Japanese parenting philosophies. Western parenting often praises constant stimulation, right? The idea that we have to constantly engage our babies for them to learn. But Japanese parenting often embraces the concept of which translates to negative space, or intentional pauses. It's the understanding that growth doesn't always require constant input. Quiet moments matter. Allowing a child to simply rest or lie quietly observing the world without a dangling toy constantly right in their face actually fosters a deep sense of calmness and independent curiosity. Rest matters, and we mean entirely unstructured, unbothered downtime. In our busy, hyper-connected modern world, it is so easy for well-meaning parents to feel like they need to be their child's 24/7 entertainment director. We feel this immense pressure to provide constant, structured activities. But giving children the quiet space to rest and develop naturally is just as vital for their mental health. All that incredible brain building, memory consolidation, and emotional processing we just explored, it strictly requires downtime.
Part 6. Building Tomorrow. Of course, every single baby is wonderfully unique. Some babies might smile frequently in their sleep, while others might rarely do it at all, and both scenarios are perfectly normal. Instead of hyper-focusing on every single twitch or smile, you really want to look at the holistic picture of their health. Ask yourself, is your baby feeding well? Are they growing appropriately on their curve? Are they starting to respond to caregivers and meeting their broader developmental milestones? If you see these signs of healthy development, an occasional sleepy smile is just a delightful quirk of infancy. As long as the holistic picture is healthy, the sleep quirks are just quirks. But hey, keeping a calm and optimistic mindset is key, and always remember to chat with your pediatrician if you ever feel unsure about anything.
So, the next time you're standing there in that dark nursery and you see your little ones smiling peacefully in their sleep, you don't have to choose between magic and science. The science is the magic. It is a profound reminder of the massive undertaking happening inside their mind. The hardest, most critical work a baby does, organizing memories, building emotional intelligence, and literally growing their brain, happens when they appear to be doing absolutely nothing at all. A growing brain, a developing mind, preparing for tomorrow, one quiet smile at a time. As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to hear about your experiences. Have you ever caught your baby smiling in their sleep? More importantly, how does learning about the active nighttime librarian change how you view your baby's quiet, unstructured moments? Does it take off some of that pressure to constantly entertain? Share your thoughts and stories with us. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive into child psychology and infant development with me today.